Well, as you can see, we had the snowstorm come in last night. About 4 inches of nice heavy wet snow up on the roof. And we lost power at about 1:30 in the morning. Some of the power lines came down, so I always like to go out and check the batteries, make sure the converter came back up okay and that the batteries are getting a good charge. So we'll go take a look-see at that. We're going to take a look at the batteries and see how the converter is working. And as you can see, we're showing 13.72 volts right now coming out of the converter to the batteries, and that's normal. And after about 44 hours, somewhere around in there, after power came back on, if I don't go inside the Alpine and operate any of the 12-volt circuits, this voltage will drop down to about 13.2, which is float mode. But right now, normal charge mode. And these batteries will be 8 years old next spring. And I hear on the internet all the times people saying that, oh my goodness, you can't leave your batteries plugged in because you'll burn them up and dry them out. So we've taken the cap off the battery on the right. These are 6-volt batteries, and we're looking down at the electrolyte level. And as you can see, the electrolyte level is, or the electrolyte is not bubbling, it's not boiling, we're not getting any gassing, and you can see that the level is just fine on the right battery. And we'll take a look-see on the battery on the left, and you should be able to see the electrolyte level there is just fine. And you might be able to get the camera back there, and there's no bubbling and boiling and outgassing of the electrolyte with the converter running plugged into the house here on a 15 amp outlet. I've been doing this now with this particular Alpine since February of 2014, so that's quite a few years. These batteries, like I say, next February will be their 8th year, and they are as good now as they were the day that I put them in. Also take a quick check and see how many amps we're drawing on the batteries, or actually how many amps are coming into the batteries with the converter running. And you can see 0.2 of an amp right now, and that's with nothing on in the Alpine other than the normal things that the parasitic draws, such as your CO detector, things like that. But there's no lights on, there's absolutely nothing on inside the Alpine. So all that misinformation that I keep seeing out on the internet, and people always want to argue with you about your converter, and you can't leave your batteries installed in your fifth wheel during the winter months. Well, here we are, snow's on the ground. You can see that the batteries, yeah, they're a little dusty or dirty, but give me a break, they're 8 years old. But they're in excellent condition, they're not bubbling, they're not boiling. And if I went and got my hydrometer and checked the specific gravity, the batteries would be just fine. The key to these converters, this one is the original OEM WIFCO. It's a 3-stage 75 amp converter, and it's got a boost or bulk mode of 14.4 volts, and then it's got its normal charge mode, which is 13.4 to 13.8 volts, and then it's got its float mode, which is 13.2 volts. And again, after this has set undisturbed for about 40 some hours, if the converter doesn't sense any other 12 volt draws on these batteries, then the converter will drop down to 13.2 volts, and it will maintain these batteries till the cows come home. Again, the batteries are not going to overheat, and everybody says, oh, you need to discharge them and charge them back up, and well, no, you don't. If people would bother to read how the 3-stage WIFCO converter works and how the Progressive Dynamics 4-stage converter works, they would see that the information that they're putting out is grossly inaccurate, in my opinion.